Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second day of the Technology Decision Makers Conference at the Asian Banker 2014. The topic is Enhancing Customer Experience in a Device-Driven World. The speakers are Mr. Satish Menon, former Group General Manager, Digital and Consumer Insights at INZ Bank. Mr. Andrew Parker, Sales Director of Mobility at Fiserv. Mr. Christophe Langlois, Founder and Chief Executive Officer at visiblebanking.com. Mr. Mark Johnston, Security Solution Architect at Trusteer. The moderator is Mr. Alexander Escucha, Senior Vice President at China Banking Corporation. Mr. Escucha, you have the floor.
Thank you. May I have a show of hands again who were in the session before lunch? Most of you. Thank you for coming back. As we said, this will be a continuation of the thread of thought that we've covered, starting with, we were just talking about smartphones, and now this morning, and we covered some ground, and it started this morning with the customer experience across channels. And we contextualized the smartphone as just one channel in the area where the mantra is seamless customer experience across channels. And we even discussed how the smartphones and these new devices have changed the way, not only the way we bank, but even the way we behave and relate to each other. And so actually I have a much simpler job this afternoon because we have 4 speakers. Hopefully we still have time for some conversation, but just to continue the introduction on the banker side, we have Satish, and he emphasized former Group General Manager of ANZ Bank Singapore, and I said that's very good because now you can speak your mind more freely.
Indeed.
And Christophe, I met Christophe 2 years ago at the Asian Banker Summit in Bangkok. And I actually follow his Twitter account. So if you want to have a continuing stream of new ideas on banking, I urge you to follow him at visible_banking. He's so connected that even as he was chairing the session this morning, I count 3 or 4 tweets while his presenters were making their presentations. And we have with us, of course, Andrew and of Fiserv and Mark of Trusteer. So without further ado, we'd like to go through with the presentations and then try to put together the trends of thought that we started before lunch. Thank you. So
Good afternoon, everyone. I feel like I'm doing the fear, uncertainty and doubt section at the end of the very positive and mobile, engaging environment where banking and financial services is going. And hopefully you don't take it that way. What I am here to talk to you about is really about protecting your business and protecting your organisation in that environment and being open and aware to the environment that you're entering into. I'm a security architect, so I help our organisations out there to secure themselves. And I work for Trusteer, or IBM, which acquired Trusteer late in Q4 2013. I've got a small video to open with you to show the landscape. You'll see today that eBay got 145 million passwords lost. And I think you'll just see how this continually grows as an awareness. I'll continue to give you some context. So we can just jump on the video now.
Earlier this year, in a single cyber attack, credentials were pilfered from over 1.5 million websites, including passwords from 320,000 Facebook, 70,000 Google, 60,000 Yahoo, and 22,000 Twitter accounts. Complete identity theft kits are readily available for purchase for as little as $1,200. No wonder well-funded cyber criminal organizations are motivated to find new breaches to exploit in the assault on our bank accounts and corporate assets, resulting in an estimated global annual cost of more than $100 billion and rising by the month. There is only one conclusion. Our digital world is under attack. But it seems that there is someone ready to do battle with the next generation of cyber criminals. At this very moment, intelligence is being captured from over 100 million devices protected by IBM Security with its Trusteer solutions to counter advanced threats. With its obvious advantage in big data, the company is knowledgeable about existing threats. The pace and development of cybercrime is so rapid that the only way to confront it is to prevent the root causes of fraud and detect active threats, be they known or unknown, in real time. Arming its customers with an arsenal of solutions, IBM Security has found a way to protect them and safeguard assets and money in our digital world. It's not enough to be ready for yesterday's attack. It's about staying one step ahead of the bad guys throughout the entire cybercrime arms race.
So forgetting the advertising aspects of that story, it's really about understanding the landscape that you're entering into for the mobile world. And this is what it is. You're going to go out there and expose your mobile channels. You're going to need to still have a view of fraud across those channels. You're going to need to understand the environment that you're going into. The worst thing you want to do is go out there with a mobile strategy to have it compromised. And this is real. And we'll talk you some use cases of customers. And if you look at the growth of mobile devices, we're talking about snacking here. We're talking about how quickly users are adopting. They're adopting 500 other applications which aren't always safe on their devices. This is the path forward. We are not going to stop this, but also because it is popular and it is the path forward, it's where cyber criminals are going to invest money. Why? Because there's going to be money there. It's really quite simple to see. So, new threats, legacy thinking, it's not working. And a single channel perspective is not working either for fraud. The fact is that a credential is used to enter your business, and identity is how we establish trust and relationship with our customers. You steal that, it doesn't matter what channel you're coming into. You're essentially stolen the relationship. And now this extends to social. Steal a social account, are you stealing the relationship? Can you understand this? Can you protect your customers? Saw a presentation in the earlier section that people are the worst part of this. As a security professional, I don't necessarily disagree with that. But I also disagree that I state that it's our obligation to do the best with the technologies that we have to protect our customers, to protect our business from the risks that will be incurred from entering into those channels. And if we can prevent them, prevent the root causes, why don't we start there first? And this comes down to customer experience, the frustration of convenience or security. All of us have got those two-factor tokens. I've got about 5 in my bag down there for 5 different banks. They're annoying, and they don't really work well with my mobile experience. The fact is that is a reason why I don't use the mobile channel as much as I use the laptop. It's disrupting my adoption, and we've got a balance of convenience or security. What if we didn't need those two-factor devices? What if we understood risk better? What if we understood that across channels? What if we understood what information and credentials were stolen? So here's just a quick view of the different vectors and why it's important to take a holistic policy of security across your organisation, not just one focused on one channel, because it will not work. And as Satish said earlier, the customer doesn't see the channel. They see the business that they're doing and trusting their most valuable asset, their money with, whether that be their stocks, whether that be their banking or their kids' financial trust funds. We need to give them the confidence at all points of that experience, their money is safe with us and we are looking after them. So, phishing and malware, that hasn't changed, traditionally on most devices. But then, now what we're stealing is credential and identity data, and that's being used to do account takeover. Now what we do is we start to extend that to mobile. When we start to adopt into these new technology spaces, we don't necessarily take a strong mobile security strategy into it at the beginning. And sometimes we only need certain identity or credential information to get access and build a relationship or open an account. And then the advanced threats to internal employee. I'm not going to go into that discussion today, but these are the majority of attacks in terms of affecting organisations and enterprises, and they are not single-vectored. So what can we do? Here's an example of a European bank with what we did with mobile fraud. They went out there into the mobile marketplace and it hurt. It hurt $1 million a week. That's nasty. That's real money. Okay? So then we're using a mobile security strategy to understand risk, leveraging the intelligence of the 100 million endpoints and that big data collaborative endpoint we have. They were able to detect and prevent fraud in their environment by getting KPIs they otherwise wouldn't have. Where do we see this happening? In a top 5 US bank, we're able to reduce cross-channel fraud by 30% in 6 months. That's the digital stream, the identity stream, protecting credentials from being used to create checks. So you can see how this digital stream is becoming more and more valuable in the relationship and how it can create further compromise to the organisation if the information is stolen. By supplying our risk KPIs from those 100 million endpoints, accordingly, we're able to reduce risk by false positives in their detection engines by 50%. And an 80% reduction in phone channel fraud in 2 weeks with a top UK bank. It's not enough to have one channel to look for the security protections in. It's now affecting everything. You only have one identity. The moment that information is stolen, compromised, it can be used to interact with any part of the business. And it's important to know if it is compromised. And that's what Trusteer can do. It can help you to prevent that, knowing that information is stolen and asking information that isn't in the wild. And some of our customers have experienced a 100% reduction in online fraud. 100%. That's confidence. So what does this do? It gives faith in our systems, the ones that we're adopting and bringing out to our customers, transforming their experience to one that's seamless. And it isn't all about putting in two-factor authentication. It's about putting smart systems in place to detect whether things are on their device that is compromising it. Look, I'm being told to sum up. It seems like I lost some time at the end there. I want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please come talk about it. But I hope it didn't come as a negative. I want to say that you can enter into that environment safely with a right holistic security pattern for your environment and protect your mobile and your social channel customers. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are all very good presentations. As I said, my job is very simple because we have 5 minutes left. But if I might summarize the whole trend, we've gotten a sense of, even from this morning, about the state of nirvana that Satish and Christoph was talking about, including how do we accommodate the mobivores. But I find Mark's point very, very apt, because even as we journey into that digital world, it's like crossing a stream and you want to know that you're on a sure footing before you get to the next step. Otherwise, you'll just fall into the water and drown. And sometimes it takes taking a step back. And it's, I never do endorse a domain of a product, but this is something, that we do need to look at as bankers and as technology practitioners. Because my analogy would be, you're driving in a Southern California highway. If you take the scenic route, you can take a fast drive without the railings, but without the security and fraud control measures, you could easily go off the cliff. So we used to view controls like this, or even risk management people, as the guys who just say no. But here, in the context of how our vulnerabilities are, it seems that it's something that has to be part of the pillars of the foundation as we move forward, without questioning anything that the 3 other gentlemen have mentioned to us. If I could, for those of you who might not have heard of the book by Charles Duhigg, D-U-H-I-G-G, about changing behavior, his case study about the Target. Target is supposed to be a best practice practitioner in predictive analytics. They're among the best of this. In fact, the case study mentioned in that book is that they knew exactly, without knowing the person, from just the details of the behavior about what you buy in Target, they can predict whether you are a pregnant person. So one time they sent a brochure of birth for nappies and for things like that to somebody in Detroit. And then the following day, the father angrily asked for the manager and said, "Why are you sending this stuff to my child? It's just in high school." So the manager apologized. And then the next day, he came back and said, "I'm sorry, my daughter is pregnant." So Target knew his daughter was pregnant before the father did. That's because when somebody is pregnant, you change your purchase in terms of perfumed lotion to non-perfumed lotion. That's something very subtle hints like that. But it was so scary, Big Brother type. And then came the news last Thanksgiving to December that Target's database was compromised and all of that. Yeah. So just brings home the point of Mark that these are the things that are nice to have, ideal situation, but once it's compromised, the entire business model could suffer, including Target's stock price, and it hasn't recovered yet.
Or the CEO.
Or the CEO, yes.
The CEO lost the job.
Yes. We do have, I'm sorry we didn't have time, but hopefully this is a continuing discussion. Again, it's a work in progress, and we'd like to encourage you to download the presentations because there are lots of things to pick up there in terms of the this session. The 3 presentations are very good actionable items that everyone can pick out. So I encourage you to download the presentations and also that of Mark. So please join me in thanking our panel.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much to all of our speakers and panelists and moderator for all of your insights. Please stay seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue our next session right away. This session is called "Why is the Grass Greener on the Other Side?" and "What Can We Learn from Our Neighbor?" This is an on-stage interview, and you are invited to ask questions to the speaker. I repeat, this is an on-stage interview, and you are invited to ask questions to the speaker. Since nobody owns the luggage at the doorway, we'll ask security to take it away. The black luggage at the doorway, may we know who owns that black luggage at the doorway? Please raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll ask security to remove it. Okay, one of the panelists.